Lyric Ashford stands before the Blackthorn Pack assembly, moonlight streaming through the great hall's windows like silver judgment. Her back is bare scars glowing faintly against pale skin that's never seen mercy. Three massive wolves flank her, dark as midnight, protective and deadly. Darius, Theron, Malachi. Their wolves are larger than any in the room, alpha power radiating from them like heat from a forge. But they're not the center of attention right now. She is. Severin Ashford kneels before the council, stripped of his gamma rank, his wolf whimpering somewhere deep inside him, where pride used to live. The silver chains around his wrists suppress his shift burn against his skin, mark him as what he is. Guilty. The elder's voice rings out, ancient and absolute. She couldn't shift. We called her broken. Lyric lifts her chin, silver eyes catching the moonlight. We were wrong. Silver light explodes from her skin like dawn breaking over mountains that have only known darkness. Every wolf in the hall drops to their knees, not in fear, but in reverence. The moon-blessed have returned. The bloodline thought extinct for 300 years stands before them alive, powerful, undeniable. The light fades slowly, leaving only the sound of breathing of hearts, hammering of a world that's just shifted on its axis and will never shift back. Lyric's voice, when she speaks, carries the weight of every year she spent silent. Let me tell you how we got here. 3 days earlier, Northern Appalachian Territories. The Ashford estate sits at the edge of pack lands, where forest meets civilization, where wolves learn to walk on two legs and pretend they're tame. They're not. They never have been. Lyric Ashford knows this better than most. She's 23 years old and she's never shifted. Not once, not ever. In a society where your wolf is your identity, where the animal inside you determines your rank, your worth, your entire existence, she is nothing. Less than nothing. She is broken. The word follows her like a shadow, whispered in hallways, muttered behind hands, said to her face by people who smile while they say it, who act like they're being kind by acknowledging her at all. Broken, defective, cursed, she's heard them all. Has carried them in her chest like stones since she was old enough to understand that other children could shift and she could not. Since she was old enough to see the disappointment harden in her father's eyes into something colder. Something that looked almost like hate. The kitchen smells like burnt bread and the lavender soap she used to scrub the floors before dawn. Winter sunlight filters through windows she cleaned yesterday, casting pale squares across stone that's older than anyone living can remember. The Ashford estate has stood for 200 years. Lyric's family has served the pack for just as long. Gamma rank, third in command. Respected, feared even in the quiet way that competence and cruelty can be feared when they walk hand in hand. Severin Ashford wears his rank like armor. He is 50 years old, still strong, still vital, his wolf powerful enough that younger males step aside when he enters a room. He provides for his pack, serves his alphas with unwavering loyalty, commands respect from wolves twice his size. To the council, he is invaluable. To the pack, he is honorable. To his daughter, he is the man who told her she killed her mother just by being born. Lyric's hands are red from hauling firewood. The pile behind the estate needs restocking before the mating ceremony tomorrow. Every high-ranking family in the Northern Territories will attend. The Blackthorn Kings have returned from months away, settling border disputes, strengthening alliances, doing the work that keeps kingdoms stable and rumors wild. Their arrival means celebration. It means every family with power will gather in their finest clothes, angling for favor, positioning daughters and sisters and nieces like chess pieces in a game Lyric's never been allowed to play. She hauls another log, ignoring the ache in her shoulders. Physical pain is easy. It's the other kind that gets harder to carry with each passing year. Inside the house, voices drift through the half-open door. Feminine. Light. The kind of laughter that comes easy when you've never had to earn your place in the world. Seraphine. Lyric's half-sister. 21 years old, an alpha female, rare as diamonds and twice as valued. Beautiful in the way that makes people stop mid-sentence, confident in a way that doesn't need to prove itself. She shifted at 9 years old, earlier than anyone in pack history. Her wolf is golden powerful, absolutely perfect. The pack adores her. Severin worships her. And Seraphine has learned very quickly that the world bends when she smiles. Lyric pushes open the kitchen door. Warmth hits her face, welcome after the cold outside. The fire crackles in the hearth. Viviane stands at the stove, stirring soup, humming something soft and domestic. She's Severin's second mate, chosen 5 years after Lyric's mother died. A beta wolf, competent and composed, a picture of pack respectability. She's never lifted a hand to Lyric. She's never needed to. Seraphine sits at the table, twirling a ribbon between her fingers. Her dress is already laid out for tomorrow's ceremony. Midnight blue silk that probably cost more than Lyric's entire wardrobe. Custom fitted, elegant, everything a future Luna should wear. Lyric's dress, the one she's been sewing in secret for months, lies in pieces on the floor. Time stops. Not metaphorically, not in some poetic sense. Time actually stops the way it does when your brain can't process what your eyes are seeing, when reality fractures into before and after, and there's no going back. The cream fabric, the delicate embroidery she'd done by candlelight, fingers cramping, eyes burning, stitching hope into every thread. The soft sleeves that would have covered her scars. The low back that would have shown she wasn't afraid anymore. Shredded, scattered across stone like broken promises. Lyric's lungs forget how to work. She stands in the doorway, cold air at her back, warmth at her face, and something inside her that's been holding on for 23 years starts to crack. Vivian doesn't look up. The spoon keeps moving through soup that probably tastes like nothing. And Omega doesn't attend royal ceremonies. Her voice is pleasant, conversational, like they're discussing weather. It's tradition. Tradition. The word that's been used to justify every cruelty, every exclusion, every moment. Lyric's been told to make herself smaller. Seraphine smiles. It's not a cruel smile. That would be easier. This is worse. This is amusement. This is a cat watching a mouse and knowing the mouse has nowhere to run. Everyone who matters, Seraphine says, fingers still playing with that ribbon. Her nails are perfect. Her hands have never bled from hauling wood or scrubbing floors. You understand. Lyric's throat closes. Words pile up behind her teeth, but they won't come out because speaking means acknowledging this is happening. Speaking means accepting that the last small hope she'd allowed herself has just been destroyed by hands that smiled while they did it. Her fingers curl, not into fists. Fists earn consequences, but into tight, trembling shapes that hurt to hold. Why? The word comes out smaller than she meant it to. Weaker. Exactly what they expect from her. Vivian finally turns. Her expression is calm, almost kind. Because you're a reminder, dear. You carry Lyra's face, but none of her worth. She says it like she's explaining something obvious to a child. You make Severin uncomfortable. The name hits like a slap. Lyra Ashford, Lyric's mother. Dead 23 years, bleeding out as her daughter took her first breath. Beautiful, they said. Kind. Everything the pack needed in a Gamma's mate. Silver eyes that could see straight through to your soul. Lyric has those same silver eyes. It's the only thing Severin's ever noticed about her. Footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, deliberate. The kind that make the floorboards creak in a pattern Lyric knows by heart. He's home. Severin fills the doorway, arms crossed, dark eyes taking in the scene. The torn fabric. His wife at the stove. His perfect daughter at the table. His broken daughter standing there with her hands shaking and her face doing that thing where she's trying not to cry. His jaw tightens, not with guilt, not with shame, with the irritation of a man inconvenienced by someone else's feelings. You were told. 4 words. That's all it takes. Lyric tries to speak, tries to explain that she didn't do anything wrong, that she just wanted to feel human for one night, that she's so tired of disappearing. I didn't do anything wrong. Her voice comes out thin, breakable, exactly the kind of voice that gets ignored. His hand moves too fast. Severin Ashford is Gamma for a reason. He's been trained in combat since he could walk, knows exactly where to hit, exactly how hard, exactly which injuries look like accidents, and which ones raise questions. He's careful, careful enough to stay respected, cruel enough to stay feared. The blow lands across her back where clothing hides it, where old scars live layered like sediment, each one a story she's never been allowed to tell. The impact sends lightning through her spine, drops her to one knee before she can stop herself. She doesn't scream, never screams. Screaming means weakness, and weakness means they win. But her throat makes a sound anyway. Something between a gasp and a sob that she hates herself for. Something that proves she's still breakable after all these years of trying not to be. Seraphine's nostrils flare. Not in sympathy, in satisfaction. This is the natural order. This is how it's supposed to be. Vivian keeps stirring soup. Severin leans close. His voice drops to that poisonous whisper he uses when he wants the words to stick. When he wants them to live inside your head long after he's gone. If you embarrass this family tomorrow, I will remind you what a cursed child deserves. Then he leaves, just like that. Walks away like he didn't just break something that was already barely holding together. Like he didn't just prove once again that Lyric's entire existence is conditional on her ability to become invisible. Viviane goes back to humming. Seraphine examines her nails, and Lyric stands there trembling, tasting copper, where she bit her tongue, feeling the warm slide of blood down her back, where skin split until she's sure her legs will hold her long enough to walk. She doesn't go to her room. Rooms have walls, and walls hold sound, and if she breaks down where anyone can hear it, becomes ammunition, becomes proof that she's unstable, becomes another reason why she doesn't deserve to exist in the same space as real wolves. So she goes outside. The cold air hits her face like a slap, but it's better than the warmth inside. Out here, no one's watching. Out here, she can let the tears fall without someone cataloging them for later use. The backyard stretches behind the estate in a narrow strip of pale stone and winter grass bordered by towering pines that swallow sound. Torchlight from the main hall flickers against the trees warm and golden, belonging to a world Lyric's never been allowed to enter fully. The air smells like damp earth and smoke, like the kind of night that presses close to your skin and makes you feel small. She walks until she reaches the old shed at the property's edge. The wood is rough under her palms when she presses against it, trying to steady her breathing. Her back burns not the sharp sting of a fresh wound, but the deeper kind, the kind that lives in your body long after the moment passes, the kind that reminds you with every movement that some things don't heal just because time moves forward. Her dress hangs loose around her shoulders. It's not the cream one she'd repaired in secret. That's gone now, scattered, destroyed. This is plain gray fabric, the kind of thing a servant wears when she wants to disappear. And she's so tired. Tired of holding her breath when Severin's in a room. Tired of making herself smaller so Seraphine looks bigger. Tired of pretending it doesn't hurt when Viviane talks about Lyra like she's discussing a stranger instead of the woman whose daughter is standing right there bleeding. Tired of being the cursed child. The sobs come quietly because even her grief needs permission. Face pressed to cold stone shoulders, shaking in a silence that feels louder than screaming. The forest whispers around her, wind through branches, distant howls from patrols running the perimeter, the crackle of torches along the estate walls. Normal sounds, safe sounds, sounds that mean the pack is functioning exactly as it should, with everyone in their proper place, and Lyric at the very bottom where broken things belong. She doesn't hear the footsteps at first. The forest is always full of sound, but these footsteps are different, deliberate, measured. The kind that make the air around them change, that make your wolf wake up and pay attention, even if that wolf has never once emerged to protect you. Lyric's head snaps up. A shadow steps into the torchlight. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair pulled back, leather and steel catching the firelight. And on his chest, the crest that makes every wolf in the Northern Territories straighten their spine. 3 wolves circling a crescent moon. The blackthorn symbol, the kind of symbol that doesn't need explanation. The kind that means royalty power, the sort of authority that can reshape territories with a single word. Darius Blackthorn, one of the triplet Alpha Kings. Lyric's breath catches in her throat like a physical thing. She scrambles to stand, instinct screaming to lower her head, to apologize, to make herself smaller. Make herself invisible the way she's supposed to. "I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I didn't mean to." 2 more figures emerge from the tree line, identical. Theron and Malachi Blackthorn, the triplets. 3 Alpha Kings who rule the Northern Territories with an iron fist wrapped in silk. Warriors, strategists, legends, men who've held power since they were 20 years old and never once wavered. They stand there backlit by torches dark as judgment, and they're looking at her, actually looking, like she's visible, like she matters. The air shifts, not metaphorically, physically, like a storm front rolling in without warning, like pressure dropping before lightning strikes, like the moment before the world changes and can never change back. All 3 of them freeze. Their nostrils flare in unison, their eyes sharpen, pupils dilating. Inside each of them, something ancient and feral rises like a tide they can't control. Their wolves don't whisper. They roar, mate. The word isn't spoken aloud, but Lyric feels it anyway. Feels it hit her chest like a second heartbeat that doesn't belong to her. Feels it resonate in bones that have never felt anything but pain. Feels it wrap around her ribs and squeeze until she can't breathe, can't think, can't do anything but stand there and stare at 3 men who are looking at her like she's the answer to a question they didn't know they were asking. Her wolf stirs. It's small, quiet. Lyric's wolf has never been loud. Years of being told she was weak, worthless, cursed it, learned to stay hidden. Tucked so far inside her chest that some days she forgot it was there at all. But now it wakes, not with a growl, Not with aggression, with recognition. Like it's been waiting for this moment her entire life. Like it knew. Lyric sways. Her hand flies to the shed wall for balance, fingers scraping against rough wood, holding on because the ground feels unstable beneath her feet. Darius's jaw clenches like he's holding back a growl. His eyes ice gray and the torch light track every movement she makes, every breath. Theron's pupils have swallowed the amber. He takes one step forward, then stops like an invisible chain yanked him back. His hands curl into fists at his sides. Malachi's forest green gaze holds the intensity of someone solving a puzzle, watching her like he's committing every detail to memory and will never forget a single one. Silence drops hard. The kind of silence that comes before earthquakes, before the world splits open and everything you thought you knew falls into the gap. Darius's voice comes first, low, edged with something that sounds almost like pain. Who hurt you? Lyric's breath stutters. Her back burns where the dress has pulled against fresh wounds. She can smell blood, her own, and underneath it, winter storms and leather, forest and stone. Scents that don't belong to the Ashford estate, scents that belong to kings. The words stick, because answering means admitting, means making it real, means crossing a line she can't uncross. Don't lie. Theron's voice is rougher than his brother's. Raw, like something inside him is barely contained. We can smell it. The pain, the fear, He cuts himself off jaw, working like he's swallowing words that want to be violent. Malachi's voice when it comes is quieter, but it doesn't lose its intensity. You're safe now, but we need to know. Safe. The word is foreign. Lyric doesn't know what safe feels like, hasn't known since before she can remember. Her lips part, but no sound comes, because in her world, telling the truth doesn't make you safe. It makes you a target. And the worst part, the part that makes her chest crack open, is that these three men, these kings who could command armies with a single word, are looking at her like she matters, like she's worth protecting, like she isn't cursed at all. Her wolf whimpers, not in fear, in longing. My father. The words come out barely above a whisper. Severin Ashford. The temperature drops, not literally, but it feels that way, like winter just arrived ahead of schedule, like the air itself is holding its breath. Darius's eyes go flat, the kind of flat that means violence is being calculated behind them. The gamma. It's not a question. He already knows, already connected the dots. The Ashford estate, Lyric's last name. The hierarchy that puts Severin exactly where he needs to be to get away with this. Lyric nods. Her throat is too tight for words. Theron swears under his breath, turns away like he needs to move or he'll explode. His shoulders are rigid under leather, every muscle locked. Malachi's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in those green eyes. Something cold and calculating and absolutely lethal. He's important. Lyric forces out. The words taste like ash. You can't. He's nothing. Darius's voice cuts through hers like steel. Absolute. Final. The kind of tone that doesn't allow argument. And he will never touch you again. Lyric stares at him. Disbelief wars with something that feels dangerously close to hope. But hope is what gets you hurt. Hope is what makes you think things can be different when they never are. You don't understand. Her voice cracks. If you say something, if you do something, he'll know I told. And when he knows, he won't touch you again. Darius takes a step closer, slow, deliberate, giving her time to move away if she needs to. I promise you that. You can't promise, watch us. The certainty in his voice should be arrogant, should feel like another man telling her what to do, what to think, what to accept. But it doesn't. It feels like a vow, like something absolute being carved into stone. Malachi moves forward now. His gaze is fixed on her like he's memorizing every detail, every scar, every tear track, every moment of pain written across her skin. Do you have somewhere safe to go tonight? Lyric blinks. What? Somewhere he can't reach you. She wants to laugh, wants to tell him that nowhere is safe when you live under the same roof as the person who hurts you, when your worth is measured in how well you can disappear. When existing in the same space as your family requires permission, you're never quite granted. I live here. Not tonight. Theron turns back, eyes sharp, almost desperate. You're coming with us. Panic floods her chest. I can't. He'll notice. He'll let him. You don't understand what you're doing. Lyric's hands shake. She presses them against the shed wall to make them stop. There are rules, laws, a triad bond. She stops, throat closing around the words. The mate bond. She feels it pulling at her chest, connecting her to all three of them in ways that should be impossible, in ways that are forbidden. Malachi's gaze sharpens. You know what this is. It's not a question. Lyric's breath comes too fast. Everyone knows it's forbidden. The female, her voice breaks. The female dies. Silence, heavy, suffocating. Theron's laugh is sharp and joyless. Not if we don't let them. The law was written by men who feared what they couldn't control. Malachi's tone is ice, pure strategy. That law was created during the Ash Years, a genocide disguised as tradition. Darius's gaze locks on hers like a vow being made without words. And no one controls you again. Lyric stares at them, at three men who've known her for 5 minutes and are already promising things that should be impossible, who are looking at her like she's worth starting a war over. Her hands stop shaking. She doesn't know if it's because she believes them or because she's too tired to keep being afraid. I need to get something first. The words come out steadier than she feels. From inside, Darius frowns. From the house, she nods. Just give me 5 minutes, please. Theron's eyes narrow. What do you need? How does she explain a journal filled with thoughts she's never been allowed to speak? A pressed flower her mother supposedly picked before Lyric was born. A ribbon faded blue that smells like rain, and something she can't name but has always called home. Things that mean nothing to anyone but her. But they're proof. Proof that she existed before tonight. Proof that she felt things, wanted things, even when the world told her she wasn't allowed to. Something that matters, she says finally. Darius studies her for a long moment. Then he nods. We'll wait here. Relief makes her knees weak. Thank you. She turns toward the house. Her legs feel unsteady. Her back screams with every step. But she moves anyway toward the building that's never been home to retrieve the only things that prove she was here. Behind her, Theron's voice drifts through the dark. If she's not back in 6 minutes, I'm going in. Malachi's reply is dry. Give her 7. Lyric almost smiles. Almost. But as she reaches for the kitchen door, as she steps back into warmth that's never felt warm, she realizes something that makes her chest ache. And tonight, 3 kings had seen her. Really seen her. There was no going back to being invisible now. The kitchen door opens without sound. Lyric has learned to move like a ghost in her own home, learned which floorboards creak and which hinges. Grown learned the precise angle to push doors so they whisper instead of announce. Survival skills. The kind you develop when existing in a space requires constant calculation. The fire has burned down to embers. The soup pot sits empty on the stove, already washed and dried, because Vivienne maintains appearances even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching. The torn fabric is gone from the floor, swept away like it never existed, like Lyric's hope never existed. She crosses to the narrow servant stairs, each step deliberate and silent. Her back screams with every movement, but she's used to that. Pain is background noise. Pain is the price of breathing in this house. Her room sits at the top, tucked in the corner where guests would never see it. A closet with a window, really. Narrow bed pushed against one wall, wooden chest at its foot, a single window overlooking the backyard and the forest beyond. No mirror, no decorations, just the essentials and the few things she's managed to keep hidden. She drops to her knees beside the chest, ignoring the way her vision blurs at the edges. Blood loss probably, or shock. Or the bone-deep exhaustion that comes from holding yourself together for so long that you've forgotten what falling apart feels like. The chest lid lifts with a soft creak. Inside, beneath a folded blanket that's more holes than fabric, sits a small leather pouch. Her hands shake as she pulls it out, loosens the drawstring. The journal. Pages yellowed and worn, filled with thoughts she's never dared speak aloud. Questions about why she exists if existing causes so much pain. Dreams about a life where she's allowed to take up space. Descriptions of the sky, because at least the sky is something beautiful she's permitted to look at. The pressed flower. Delicate. Fragile. Her mother supposedly picked it the day before she died, before Lyric was born and took everything away. It's purple, though the color has faded to something closer to brown. She doesn't know what kind of flower it is. Has never asked because asking about Lyra invites Severin's rage. The ribbon. Faded blue silk that still carries the faintest scent of rain. They say Lyra wore it in her hair. They say she was beautiful. They say a lot of things about a woman Lyric killed just by being born. She tucks the pouch inside her dress against her ribs, where it presses warm and solid. Then she hears them. Voices from downstairs, muffled but distinct. Severin's low rumble. Vivienne's lighter tone. And then sharp and clear Seraphine's laugh. Lyric freezes. Us at ceremony preparations, Vivian is saying. Everything is ready. Seraphine will be perfect. She'd better be. Severin's voice carries that edge it gets when he's planning something. When he's positioning pieces on a board that only he can see. The kings are watching. This is our moment. They won't be able to look away. Seraphine's smugness bleeds through every word. An alpha female, rare bloodline, perfect in every way. I'll be Luna before the moon rises tomorrow. A pause. Then Severin again. Quieter now. The tone that makes Lyric's blood run cold. Where's Lyric? Her heart stops. Does it matter? Seraphine's dismissal is casual. Easy. Like Lyric is a piece of furniture they're discussing moving. She's been acting strange, Severin continues. Something hard creeps into his voice. Too quiet. She's always quiet. Vivian sounds almost amused. Not like this. Footsteps, heavy, moving toward the stairs. Check her room. Lyric doesn't think. She turns toward the window. It's small, barely wide enough for her to fit through, but it leads to a narrow ledge that runs along the back of the house. She's climbed out before years ago, when hiding felt safer than staying. She can do it again. The footsteps echo in the hallway. Lyric shoves the window open. Cold air rushes in, stealing her breath. She climbs onto the ledge, bare feet finding purchase on stone that's slick with evening dew, and pulls the window shut behind her, just as her bedroom door opens. She presses herself flat against the wall, heart hammering so loud she's certain they can hear it through the glass. Vivian's voice drifts out, muffled. She's not here. Check the closet. Severin. Lyric doesn't wait to hear more. She moves along the ledge, fingers gripping stone, trying not to look down at the ground 2 stories below. The night air bites at her skin, sharp and cold, but she doesn't stop. Her back screams. Her hands are already going numb. None of it matters. She reaches the corner of the house and finds the old trellis, half rotted, covered in dead vines, still attached to the wall by sheer stubbornness. She tests it with one hand. It shifts slightly under her weight. It'll have to be enough. Lyric climbs down. Splinters dig into her palms. Her muscles scream. The wood groans with every movement, threatening to give way and send her plummeting to stone below. Halfway down, the trellis shudders. She freezes, breath held, every nerve ending firing with the certainty that she's about to fall. The wood holds, barely. Lyric drops the last few feet. Her ankle gives out on landing, sending lightning up her leg. Pain bright and immediate. She bites down on the sound that wants to escape and forces herself upright. The backyard stretches before her. Torchlight, winter grass, and at the edge where forest meets civilization, 3 figures waiting in shadow. She limps toward them. Each step is agony, but she doesn't stop because stopping means thinking, and thinking means realizing what she's doing, what she's risking. What happens if Severin finds her gone and figures out where she went? Darius sees her first. His head turns the moment she comes into view. His sharp gaze sweeps over her disheveled and breathing hard and favoring one leg, and his expression darkens. What happened? The words come out low. Dangerous. Lyric shakes her head, trying to catch her breath. They came looking. I had to. Theron swears. Creative. Vicious. You climbed out a window. It's not a question. Lyric nods, still gulping air. Malachi's gaze flicks toward the house, then back to her. Can they see us from here? Not if we stay in the trees. Her voice comes out shakier than she wants. Darius moves first. He closes the distance between them in 2 strides, and before Lyric can protest, he crouches down and gestures to her ankle. Let me see. It's fine. It's not. She doesn't have the energy to argue. She lets him take her ankle in his hand. His touch is surprisingly gentle despite the size and strength she can feel beneath it. He presses lightly, testing. She winces. Twisted. He straightens. Not broken? I can walk, Lyric says. Darius's cold stare lifts to hers. Something in those ice-gray eyes makes her breath catch. You shouldn't have to. Before she can process what he means, he turns his back to her. Get on. Lyric blinks. What? You're injured. We need to move. Get on. She stares at his broad shoulders, at the way he stands there waiting, like this is the most reasonable thing in the world. Like carrying a broken Omega through the forest is something kings do on a regular basis. I can walk, she says again. Weaker this time. Theron's voice cuts in dry. You can also stop being stubborn and let us help. Help. The word sits strange in her mouth. Foreign. She doesn't know what help looks like. Doesn't know if she's allowed to accept it. But her ankle throbs and the house looms behind her, and three men are looking at her like carrying her wouldn't be a burden at all. It would be a privilege. Lyric swallows hard. Then slowly she steps forward and places her hands on Darius's shoulders. He doesn't move until she's ready. Then he reaches back, hooks his arms under her legs, and lifts her like she weighs nothing. Her breath catches. She's never been carried before. Not like this. Not with care. Not with this kind of deliberate gentleness that makes something in her chest crack open. Darius's scent wraps around her. Winter storms and leather, and something steady underneath. Something that feels like safety even though she doesn't know how to trust it yet. "Hold on," he says quietly. Lyric's arms tighten around his neck. Then they move. Malachi leads the way, silent and sure-footed, navigating forest paths like he's walked them 100 times. Probably has. These are blackthorn territories. Every tree, every stone, every shadow belongs to them. Theron brings up the rear. His gaze constantly sweeps their surroundings, alert and ready, protective in a way that makes Lyric's wolf whimper with want. She rests her cheek against Darius's shoulder. Exhaustion crashes over her in waves now that the adrenaline is fading. Her eyelids feel heavy. Her body feels like it's made of lead. She should be terrified, should be questioning everything. Where they're taking her, what happens next, what she's just walked away from. But all she feels is the steady rhythm of Darius's heartbeat against her ribs. And for the first time in her life, Lyric lets herself believe that maybe she's not falling. Maybe she's being caught. The Blackthorn estate rises out of the forest like something carved from shadow and moonlight. Lyric has seen it before. Everyone has. It sits on the highest point in the territory, visible from almost anywhere if you know where to look. Stone walls that seem older than memory. Arched windows that glow warm even in the dead of winter. Iron gates that open only for those who belong. She's never imagined she'd be one of them. Darius's grip on her legs tightens slightly as they approach the entrance. She feels his muscles shift beneath her, feels the steady rhythm of his breathing, and tries to convince herself this is real. That she hasn't passed out from pain somewhere behind the Ashford estate and conjured this entire night from desperation. But the cold air bites at her cheeks. The pouch presses against her ribs. And Darius has sent winter storms and leather, and something that feels like safety wraps around her too completely to be imagined. This is real. Terrifyingly, impossibly real. Malachi moves ahead, pushing open heavy wooden doors with ease. Warm light spills out, and with it comes the scent of burning wood and something else. Something clean and lived in. Like a place that's meant to be a home instead of just a house. Lyric's throat tightens. Darius carries her inside, and the doors close behind them with a soft thud that feels final. The entrance hall is enormous. Vaulted ceilings stretch overhead, supported by beams that look like they were carved from whole trees. Tapestries hang on the walls depicting wolves under crescent moons, battles won, and territories claimed. A staircase splits in two directions, curving upward like wings. It should feel cold, stone and fire and too much space. But it doesn't. It feels warm, lived in, safe. Darius crosses the hall and lowers himself onto a cushioned bench near the hearth. He settles the Lyric gently beside him, but doesn't let go right away. His hands linger on her waist, steadying her, like he thinks she might bolt the second he releases her. He's not wrong. Lyric's fingers curl into the fabric of her dress, grounding herself. Trying to process the fact that she's sitting in the home of 3 Alpha Kings and her father has no idea where she is. Severin is going to lose his mind. The thought should terrify her. Instead, it feels like the first full breath she's taken in years. Theron drops into a chair across from them. His elbows rest on his knees, amber eyes fixed on her with an intensity that makes her want to look away. She doesn't. Looking away feels like admitting she doesn't belong here. And she's tired of admitting that. Malachi moves to a side table and pours water from a pitcher into a glass. He brings it to her, holding it out without a word. Lyric stares at the glass like it's a foreign object. "Drink," Malachi says quietly. She takes it. Her hands shake slightly. She brings the glass to her lips, and the water is cool clean, and she hadn't realized how dry her throat was until the first sip. She drinks half before setting it down on the bench beside her. "Thank you," she whispers. Malachi's gaze softens. "You don't have to thank us." But she does. Kindness isn't something she can take for granted. Kindness is a gift she's never been given without strings attached. Darius leans forwards, elbows resting on his knees. He turns his head to look at her. "How long?" Lyric blinks. "What? How long has he been hurting you?" The question lands like a stone in still water, sending ripples through her chest. Her fingers tighten around the edge of the bench. "I don't lie." Darius's voice carries no anger, just something heavier, something that feels like grief. Lyric's breath catches, because lying is instinct. Lying is survival. Lying is the only way to make it through a day without making things worse. But the way he's looking at her, the way all three of them are looking at her, makes lying feel impossible. Her voice comes out small. Always. Silence drops hard. Darius's jaw clenches so tight she can see the muscle jump. Theron swears under his breath and looks away like he can't stand to hear it. Malachi's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Something cold and calculating and absolutely lethal. He wasn't always like this. Lyric swallows. Or maybe he was. I don't know. I was too young to remember anything different. Why? Darius's voice is quiet, but the weight behind it makes the air feel heavier. Why does he hate you? Her chest tightens. She's never said it out loud before, not like this. Not to people who might actually care about the answer. My mother. The words come barely above a whisper. Lyra, she died when I was born. Everyone said, her voice cracks. They said I killed her. That childbirth, that it was my fault. Theron's jaw tightens. That's not... I know. Lyric interrupts, though her voice wavers. But he believes it. He's believed it my whole life. Darius's hand moves before she realizes it, settles warm and steady over hers. It wasn't your fault. Her throat burns. He thinks it was. And when he looks at me, all he sees is her face, the woman he lost, the mate who... She stops, breath hitching. He told me once that I carry her face, but none of her worth. The words hang in the air like smoke. Malachi's voice comes low and controlled. Lyra was the Gamma's mate. The pack mourned her. Lyric nods, eyes fixed on her hands. She was everything. Kind. Beautiful. Everything I'm not. Stop. Darius's command makes her look up. His ice-gray eyes burn with something fierce. You don't get to repeat his lies. Lyric's breath stutters, because it's never occurred to her that they were lies. They've been spoken so often by so many people that they became truth. The truth. The only version of herself she's ever been allowed to believe. He remarried. Her voice shakes. Vivian, she's beta, strong. Everything the pack wanted for him after Lyra. And she brought Seraphine, Theron says slowly. Lyric nods. An alpha female. Rare. Powerful. The kind of daughter he actually wanted. And you became the reminder he didn't want. Theron leans forward. I tried to stay out of the way. The words tumble out faster now. Tried to be useful. If I worked hard enough, if I stayed quiet enough, maybe, her voice breaks. Maybe he'd stop looking at me like I ruined his life just by existing. Darius's grip on her hand tightens, grounding her before the spiral can pull her under. Malachi crouches down in front of her, brings himself to her eye level. Lyric, look at me. She does. His forest green gaze is steady, calm, devastatingly sincere. You've spent your entire life being told you don't matter, that you're a burden, that you're the reason for someone else's pain. Her breath shudders. None of that is true. Malachi's voice is quiet but absolute. And we're going to prove it to you. Lyric's vision blurs. She blinks hard, refusing to let the tears fall, because crying feels like weakness, and she's already cried too much tonight. But Darius's hand tightens over hers, and Theron leans forward, watching her like she's something precious, instead of something broken. And Malachi stays crouched in front of her, patient and unmoving, like he'll wait as long as it takes for her to believe him. What if you're wrong? The words come out barely above a whisper. We're not, Darius says. But what if you are? Her breath hitches. What if I'm exactly what they said I was? Cursed, worthless, a burden you didn't ask for? Darius's gaze doesn't waver. Then we'll still choose you. Something in Lyric's chest cracks open, because that's the thing she's never had before. Choice. The option to be wanted not because of duty or obligation or some cosmic accident, but because someone looked at her and decided she was worth it. I don't know how to believe you, she whispers. You don't have to. Malachi's voice is gentle. Not yet. Just let us prove it. She stares at him, then at Darius, then at Theron. And something inside her, something that's been locked down tight for so long, she'd forgotten it was there, begins to crack. Not break. Crack. Like light finding its way through stone. She nods. Barely, but it's enough. Darius exhales like he's been holding tension he didn't realize was there. Theron grins sharp and relieved. Malachi rises to his feet, and approval flickering across his face. You need rest, Malachi says, and your ankle needs to be wrapped properly. Lyric glances down at her foot, almost surprised to remember it's injured. The pain has faded to a dull throb. Background noise compared to everything else. I can do it myself, she says. Theron snorts. Sure you can. But you're not going to. I don't need. Stop. Darius's word is gentle but firm. Let us help. Her protest dies in her throat. Because the truth is she's exhausted. Bone-tired in a way that has nothing to do with physical pain and everything to do with the weight of surviving alone for too long. She nods. Malachi disappears down a hallway and returns a moment later with a wooden box. He sets it on the bench beside her and opens it. Bandages, salves, various supplies that look far more organized than anything she's ever had access to. Darius shifts slightly, giving Malachi room to work. Lyric watches as Malachi kneels in front of her again. This time he reaches for her injured ankle with careful, practiced hands. His touch is clinical, professional, but there's something else beneath it, something that feels like care. He wraps the bandage with precision, securing it firmly but not too tight. His fingers are warm against her skin. When he finishes, he sits back on his heels and meets her gaze. Better. Lyric tests her weight slightly. The support helps, takes pressure off the twisted joint. Yes, thank you. Malachi's lips curve just barely. You're welcome. They lead her through the estate. Malachi stops in front of a heavy wooden door and pushes it open. The room beyond is smaller than the entrance hall, but still larger than anywhere Lyric has ever slept. A bed sits against the far wall, piled with blankets that look soft enough to drown in. A window overlooks the forest moonlight spilling through the glass. A fireplace crackles quietly in the corner, filling the room with warmth. Lyric's chest tightens. This is, her voice fails. Yours, Darius finishes. For tonight, for as long as you need it. She turns to look at him. Disbelief written across her face. I can't. You can, Theron says from the doorway. And you will. Lyric's throat burns. She wants to argue, to insist that she doesn't deserve this, that she should sleep somewhere smaller, somewhere that doesn't feel like a gift she hasn't earned. But the exhaustion is winning, and the bed looks so soft. Okay, she whispers. Malachi moves to the fireplace, adjusting the logs so the flames burn steadier. There's water on the table, clean clothes in the chest if you want them. And if you need anything at all, we're just down the hall. Lyric nods. Her fingers curl into the fabric of her dress. You're safe here, Theron says. No one's going to hurt you. Lyric's breath shudders. I know. And the terrifying part is, she actually believes it. Good night, Lyric, Darius says. Good night, she whispers. The three of them file out. The door closes behind them with a soft click. And for the first time in her life, Lyric is alone, in a way that doesn't feel like abandonment. She crosses to the bed and sinks onto the edge, testing the mattress. It's soft. Too soft. The kind of soft that makes her want to cry because she's never had anything like this before. She pulls the leather pouch from inside her dress and sets it on the bedside table. Her journal, the pressed flower, the ribbon, small things. Proof she existed. Lyric kicks off her shoes and climbs under the blankets. They smell clean, like winter and safety. The fire crackles. The moonlight paints silver lines across the floor. Outside, the forest whispers like it's keeping watch. Her eyes drift closed, and for the first time in longer than she can remember, Lyric falls asleep without fear. Morning comes soft through windows Lyric doesn't recognize. For 3 heartbeats, she forgets where she is, forgets the night before. Forgets everything except the warmth wrapped around her like a promise and the scent embedded in fabric that's softer than anything she's ever touched. Then memory floods back. The torn dress, Severn's hand, 3 kings appearing from shadows like an answer to prayers she never dared speak aloud. The mate bond. Lyric sits up slowly, testing her body. Her back aches, but it's manageable. Her ankle throbs dully beneath Malachi's careful bandaging. Everything else feels like she's been wrung out and left to dry. But she's alive. And she's here in a room that belongs to her, in a house where no one's going to hurt her. The thought should feel like safety. Instead, it feels like standing on the edge of a cliff waiting to see if she'll fly or fall. Sunlight streams through the window, winter pale but warm. The fire has burned down to embers. The leather pouch sits on the bedside table exactly where she left it, proof that last night was real. A knock at the door makes her breath catch. Lyric, Malachi's voice, quiet, careful. May I come in? She pulls the blanket higher, suddenly aware that she's still wearing yesterday's torn dress. Yes. The door opens. Malachi enters carrying a tray that smells like coffee and something warm. He's dressed simply, dark shirt and pants, but he moves with that same careful grace she noticed last night. like every action is deliberate. His forest green eyes find hers and soften. How are you feeling? The question should be simple. It's not. How is she feeling? Terrified, hopeful, raw, like every nerve ending is exposed and the slightest touch might shatter her completely. Sore, she says instead. Safe. Simple. Malachi sets the tray on a small table near the window. I brought food and coffee, though I wasn't sure how you take it. I don't usually, she stops. Because the truth is she's never had coffee. Coffee is for people who matter. For family members who get to sit at the table instead of serving at it. Then we'll figure it out together. His smile is small but genuine. He pours from a ceramic pot, adds cream, and honey, brings the cup to her. Try this. Lyric takes it. The warmth seeps into her palms. She sips carefully. The taste is rich, complex, nothing like she imagined. Good, Malachi asks. She nods. Can't quite find words. He settles into the chair near the window, giving her space but staying close. Darius and Theron are handling some pack business this morning, but they wanted me to check on you, make sure you're okay. I'm fine. The lie tastes bitter even as she says it. Malachi's gaze holds hers. Patient. Waiting. Lyric's fingers tighten around the cup. I don't know what happens now. Now you eat. Then we talk about what comes next. The ceremony. Yes, he doesn't flinch from it. It starts at sunset. The entire pack will gather. Severin will be there. Her stomach twists. And Seraphine. And Seraphine. Malachi leans forward slightly. But so will we. All three of us. And you if you choose. If you choose. The words hang between them like an offering. You're still giving me a choice, she says slowly. Always. His voice is absolute. This is your life, Lyric. Your future. We won't make decisions for you. Something in her chest cracks wider. Because that's the thing no one's ever given her before. Agency, the right to choose her own path instead of following the one carved out by people who think they know better. A second knock interrupts. Theron's voice rougher than Malachi's. Is she decent? Define decent. Malachi calls back dry. The door opens. Theron enters with the kind of energy that fills a room immediately. His amber eyes find Lyric and something in them softens. Morning, little wolf. Little wolf, the nickname should annoy her or should feel patronizing. Instead, it feels like belonging. Morning, she manages. We need to talk about today. Theron's tone shifts, still gentle but serious now. About what you want, what you're comfortable with. Lyric glances between them. Where's Darius? Dealing with the council. Theron's expression darkens slightly. Severin filed a formal complaint this morning. Claims you were abducted. That we're holding you against your will. Her heart drops. He's lying. Malachi's voice is calm. Which Darius is explaining to Elder Cornelius right now. But if they believe him, they won't. Theron moves closer. Because you're going to tell them the truth. Terror spikes through her. I can't. If I accuse him publicly, He'll what? Theron's voice is soft but edged. Hit you again. Not while we're standing between you and him. You don't understand. He's Gamma. He's respected. And the word sticks in her throat. I'm nothing. Who's going to believe me over him? Everyone who has eyes. Malachi's hand settles on her shoulder, grounding. The scars don't lie, Lyric. The bond doesn't lie. And we don't lie. She wants to believe them, wants it so badly her chest aches. What if I'm not strong enough? The question comes out broken. What if I stand up there and freeze? What if I can't? Then we'll speak for you. Darius's voice comes from the doorway. Lyric turns. He fills the entrance, still dressed in the formal clothes he must have worn to meet with the council. His sharp gaze finds hers and holds. But I don't think you'll freeze. He steps inside, closing the door behind him. I think you're braver than you know. I'm not brave. You climbed out a window 2 stories up with a twisted ankle to get away from him. Darius moves closer. You trusted 3 strangers because your instincts told you to. You're still standing after 23 years of being told you shouldn't exist. He stops in front of her. That's not weakness, Lyric. That's survival. And survival takes more strength than most wolves will ever understand. Her vision blurs. Darius's hand cups her face, gentle, achingly tender. You don't have to be strong alone anymore. That's what we're here for. The mate bond flares, bright and undeniable. Lyric feels it in her chest, in her bones, in the wolf that's been silent her entire life and is now wide awake and whimpering with want. There's something else. Theron's tone shifts, careful now. About the bond, about what it means. Lyric's pulse quickens. What? Mate bonds aren't just emotional. Malachi takes over clinical and clear. They're physical. The longer we're near you without claiming you properly, the more uncomfortable it becomes. For all of us. Heat floods her face. Oh, we're not pressuring you, Darius is quick to add. But you should know, the bond will pull, will make you want things you might not be ready for. Like what? Though she knows, can feel it already, the way her skin tingles when they're close. The way her wolf pushes against her ribs, demanding she get closer, demanding she touch. Theron's voice has gone rougher. Intimacy. The bond wants completion. Lyric's breath comes faster. And if we don't, it won't kill us. Malachi's tone is matter of fact. But it will be painful. Like an itch you can't scratch. A hunger you can't satisfy. I'm sorry. The words tumble out. I didn't mean to stop. Darius's thumb brushes her cheek. This isn't your fault. Bonds happen when they happen. But we need you to know what you're feeling isn't wrong. It's natural. What am I feeling? She needs to hear them say it. Want. Theron's eyes have darkened. Need. The bond pulling you toward us. And he's right. She does feel it. Has been feeling it since the moment they appeared in the forest. This magnetic pull that makes her want to close the distance between them. That makes her wonder what it would feel like to be touched with intent instead of violence. To be wanted instead of tolerated. I've never, she stops, throat tight. I don't know how, we know. Malachi's voice is gentle. And we'll teach you. Every step. But only when you're ready. Only when you choose. Choice. They keep giving her that. Can I, Lyric swallows hard. Can I ask you something, anything, Darius says. Why me? The question that's been burning in her chest since last night. You're kings. You could have anyone, alpha females, wolves who are whole and strong, and you are whole. Theron cuts her off. And you are strong. You say, I can't even shift. Yet. Malachi's correction is gentle but firm. You can't shift yet. But why would you want someone who's broken when you could have, you're not broken? Darius's voice has an edge now. And we don't want anyone else. We want you. But why? Because the bond chose you. His hand is still on her face. Because our wolves recognized yours. Because when we saw you crying behind that shed, something in us knew you were ours. Knew we'd burn the world down before we let anyone hurt you again. The words settle over her like a blanket. I don't know if I can believe that. Then let us prove it. Theron steps closer. They're surrounding her now, not trapping, protecting. Let us show you what it feels like to be wanted. Her wolf whimpers. Want. She does want. Has wanted for so long, she'd forgotten what wanting felt like. Buried it so deep under survival that desire became a luxury she couldn't afford. But it's there, clawing its way to the surface. I don't know what to do, she whispers. You don't have to know. Malachi's hand settles on her waist. Light, asking permission. Just feel. And maybe that's the problem. She spent so long not feeling, not letting herself want, that the idea of just surrendering to sensation terrifies her. But the bond pulls, and she's so tired of fighting. Okay, she breathes. Darius's eyes darken. Okay. Her voice shakes but doesn't break. Show me what this means. The air shifts, becomes charged, heavy with promise and possibility, and the kind of tension that makes her skin feel too tight. Are you sure? Malachi's voice is careful. We can wait. We should wait. You've been through. I'm sure. And she is. Terrified, yes, but sure. I want to know what it feels like. To be touched like this. To be wanted. Theron's breath comes out rough. Then we'll show you. Slow. Careful. You say stop, we stop. Immediately. I understand. Safe word. Darius's tone is absolute. Choose one. Something you wouldn't normally say. Lyric thinks, her mind blank with anticipation and fear. Mercy. Mercy, he nods. Say it if you need us to stop, for any reason. We'll stop immediately, no questions. Okay. And Lyric, Malachi waits until she looks at him. This is about you, your pleasure, your comfort, not ours. Understand? Her throat is too tight for words. She nods. Darius leans in slowly, giving her time to pull away if she needs to. His lips brush her forehead. Gentle. Reverent. May I kiss you? His voice is soft against her skin. Yes. His mouth finds hers. The kiss is nothing like she imagined. It's careful. Tender. Like she's made of spun glass and might shatter if he's not gentle enough. His lips move against hers, slowly teaching her the rhythm, giving her time to respond. When she makes a small sound of pleasure, she feels him smile against her mouth. Then his control cracks, just slightly. The kiss deepens. His tongue traces her bottom lip, asking. She opens for him, and the world tilts. Heat floods through her. The bond flares. Her wolf howls. When he pulls back, they're both breathing hard. Good, he asks. Yes. The word comes out breathless. May I touch you? Malachi's voice comes from behind her. Just your shoulders, your arms. Please. His hands settle on her shoulders, warm through the thin fabric of her dress. He kneads gently, finding knots she didn't know existed, working them loose with patient pressure. It feels like worship, like she's something precious being handled with care instead of something broken to be discarded. Theron moves to her side. Can I see your hand? She extends it. He takes it carefully, examining her fingers. The calluses from years of hard work. The scars from a childhood spent trying to be useful. He brings her palm to his lips, kisses each fingertip. Beautiful. They're not, they are. His amber eyes burn. Every scar, every mark, evidence that you survived, that you're still here despite everything. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Tears burn behind her eyes. No one's ever called her beautiful before. No one's ever looked at her scars and seen strength instead of damage. She doesn't know how to finish, doesn't have words for the need clawing through her. Tell us. Darius's hand settles on her waist. Whatever you want, we'll give it to you. I want to feel safe. The truth comes out raw. I want to know what it's like to be touched without fear, to want something and not have it used against me. Then that's what we'll give you. Malachi's voice is a promise. Safety, pleasure, choice, everything you've never had. His hands move from her shoulders down her arms, slow, careful, reading her body language for any sign of discomfort. There is none, just want, sharp and immediate and terrifying in its intensity. Darius's fingers find the buttons at the back of her dress. May I? Her breath catches. Yes. He undoes them slowly, one at a time. The fabric loosens around her shoulders, falls away. Cool air hits her skin, her scars. She tenses, waiting for disgust, for pity. For all the things she's seen in Severin's eyes when he looks at what he's done. But when Darius sees them, his expression doesn't change, except for his eyes. They darken with rage, with grief, with a promise of violence toward anyone who dared mark her this way. Beautiful, he says, and means it. They're not, they are. Theron's voice is fierce, every single one. Proof that you survived him. Proof that he couldn't break you no matter how hard he tried. Malachi's hands trace the lines. Gentle, reverent. Does it hurt? Not anymore. Not physically. The emotional pain is harder to measure. Good. His fingers map each scar like he's memorizing them, like he's promising to remember every wound so he can make sure they never happen again. The dress falls completely, pools at her feet. She stands in her underclothes, vulnerable and exposed, and waits for shame to flood through her. It doesn't come. Instead, there's heat, want, the bone-deep certainty that these men will not hurt her. You're perfect. Darius's voice has gone rough. Absolutely perfect. I'm not, you are. He cups her face again. To us, you are. Then he kisses her. This time it's not gentle. This time there's hunger beneath the careful control. His mouth claims hers like he's been starving for the taste of her and can finally feed. Her knees go weak. Malachi's arms catch her, support her. We've got you. And they do. Darius's kiss steals her breath. Malachi's hands hold her steady. Theron's presence at her side grounds her. 3 points of contact, 3 sources of warmth, 3 wolves who want her with an intensity that should terrify her. It doesn't. It feels like coming home. When Darius finally pulls back, she's gasping. I need what? His thumb brushes her swollen lips. Tell me. More. The word comes out desperate. Please. His eyes flash. Then take it. And maybe that's the permission she needs. She reaches for him, her hands fist in his shirt. Pull him back down. This kiss is different. This kiss is hers. She controls the depth, the pressure, the rhythm, and he lets her. Follows her lead, gives her the power she's never been allowed to have. It's intoxicating. Malachi's mouth finds her shoulder, kisses along the line of the scars there. Each touch careful, deliberate, like he's trying to replace every bad memory with good ones. Theron's hand slides into her hair, not pulling, just holding. anchoring her while she drowns in sensation. The bond flares brighter. Silver light, faint but visible, begins to glow where skin meets skin. Lyric gasps, pulls back. What the bond? Malachi's voice is awed. It's manifesting. Is that normal? For Moon Blessed? Theron grins. Yes, Moon Blessed. The words sit strange in her brain, foreign, like they belong to someone else. I still can't shift, she whispers. But you can do this. Darius touches the glowing mark where his hand rests on her waist. This is power, Lyric. Rare, ancient, yours. Hers, the word echoes. I want, she doesn't know how to ask, how to voice the need building in her chest. We know. Malachi's voice is gentle. But we should prepare for the ceremony. Get you dressed properly. The words land like cold water. Reality crashes back. The ceremony, Severin. The choice she still has to make. I'm sorry. She pulls away slightly. I shouldn't have. Don't. Darius's grip tightens, not painful, grounding. Don't apologize for wanting. Don't apologize for taking what's yours. But we should, she gestures vaguely toward the window, toward the day waiting outside. There's the ceremony and we'll handle it. Theron's voice is firm. Together, but first you need to eat. Get dressed. I don't have anything to wear. The torn dress is still on the floor, a reminder of everything she left behind. We'll find something. Malachi moves toward the chest against the wall, opens it, pulls out fabric that shimmers even in morning light. Midnight blue, soft as water, cut in a style that's elegant without being ostentatious. This will fit, he says, and the back will show my scars. She finishes. Understanding. Will show the truth. Darius corrects. The truth. That she's been hurt. That she survived. That she's not ashamed anymore. Okay, she breathes. They leave her to dress. Give her space and privacy, even though the bond pulls at all of them to stay close. Lyric pulls on the dress. It fits perfectly. The fabric skims her skin like a whisper. And the back cut low reveals every scar Severin ever gave her. Evidence, proof, truth. She looks at herself in the small mirror, sees silver eyes that match her mother's, sees scars that tell a story of survival, sees a woman who's terrified but choosing to be brave anyway. I can do this, she whispers to her reflection. Her wolf, silent for so long, finally answers. Yes, you can. And maybe that's all the confirmation she needs. Hours before the ceremony, a commotion erupts in the estate grounds. Lyric is in the bathing chamber when she hears shouting. Darius's roar, Theron's snarl. She wraps herself quickly and rushes out. In the courtyard, two rogue wolves, bloodied and restrained. Warriors surround them. Seraphine hired them, Malachi reports, jaw tight, to prevent Lyric from attending. The rogues snarl. One lunges. Lyric's wolf surges. Not shifting, she still can't. But power floods out. Silver light pins both rogues to the ground, invisible weight crushing them. Everyone stares. Lyric stares at her own hands, glowing faint silver. I didn't mean to. You protected yourself, Darius says, pride in his voice. Your power is waking. The rogues are taken away. Lyric's hands still shake, not with fear, but with realization. She's not helpless anymore. The ceremony hall fills as sunset approaches. Torchlight flickers against stone walls carved with the history of wolves who came before. Every high-ranking family in the Northern Territories has gathered dressed in their finest angling, for position, for favor, for a glimpse of the triplet kings who rule with absolute authority. Lyric stands in an antechamber hidden from view, her heart hammering so hard she can feel it in her throat. The midnight blue dress clings to her skin. Her scars are visible, undeniable. Every mark Severin ever left exposed to moonlight streaming through high windows. You don't have to do this. Darius stands beside her, solid and steady. We can find another way. No. Her voice is stronger than she feels. He needs to answer for what he did, and I need to stop hiding. Theron adjusts the collar of his formal jacket. Then we do this together. Malachi's hand settles on her shoulder. The moment you want to leave, we leave. Your comfort matters more than their judgment. The mate bond hums between them, silver threads connecting her to all three. Visible now, undeniable. Beyond the door, she can hear the pack gathering, voices rising and falling, speculation about which alpha female will be chosen. Whether Seraphine's beauty and power will win the day. They have no idea what's about to walk through those doors. Ready, Darius offers his hand. Lyric takes it. No, but I'm doing it anyway. The doors open. Silence drops like a stone. Every head turns. Every conversation stops. Every breath holds as Lyric walks into the great hall, flanked by three kings, her scars gleaming in torchlight, the mate bond glowing silver where skin meets skin. She sees Severin's face drain of color, sees Vivian's perfect composure crack, sees Seraphine's mouth fall open in shock. That would be amusing if Lyric's entire body wasn't screaming at her to run. But she doesn't run. She walks forward, head high, chin lifted, every scar on display. The crowd parts like water. Whispers explode. Is that the Gamma's daughter? Look at her back, a moon goddess. What are those? Elder Cornelius rises from his seat at the council table. His ancient eyes sweep over her, over the kings, over the bond that can't be hidden or denied. This is unexpected, he says carefully. Is it? Darius's voice carries through the hall. We've found our mate. Lyric Ashford is our Luna. The whispers become roars. Gasps ripple through the crowd like wildfire catching dry grass. Severin surges to his feet. This is madness. She's been kidnapped, manipulated. These kings have taken advantage of a mentally unstable girl. Silence. The command in Darius's voice makes wolves twice Severin's size flinch, makes the very air feel heavier. You will speak when spoken to Gamma, or would you prefer I strip that title from you now? Severin's jaw works. Rage and fear war across his face. His wolf snarls inside him, wanting to challenge, but even in his fury he knows better. You don't challenge three Alpha Kings and live to tell about it. Lyric, Elder Cornelius's voice is gentler, more careful. Did these kings take you against your will? Every eye fixes on her, waiting, judging. Pack members she's served 4 years. Warriors she's trained beside. Wolves who've watched her be invisible her entire life. This is the moment. The choice that will change everything. Lyric's throat is dry. Her hands want to shake. But Darius's grip on hers is steady. And she can feel Theron at her left, Malachi at her right, 3 walls of protection that make her feel less alone than she's ever been. No. Her voice rings clear, clearer than she expected. They saved me. Saved you from what? She takes a breath, feels it fill her lungs, feels the weight of 23 years pressing against her ribs. Then she turns, shows her back to the entire assembly, lets them see every scar, every wound, every moment of pain written across her skin in raised lines and faded marks. The hall erupts. Someone gasps. Someone swears. A female voice cries out in horror. Someone else says what everyone's thinking. Moon Goddess, what happened to her? Lyric turns back around, meets Severin's gaze across the hall, and speaks truth for the first time in her life. My father happened for 23 years because I reminded him of the mate he lost, because I couldn't shift, because I existed. She's lying. Severin's voice cracks, high-pitched, desperate. Those are training accidents. She's always been clumsy, always getting hurt because she doesn't pay attention. Those are not training wounds. Malachi's clinical tone cuts through. I've treated combat injuries for 8 years. Those are punishment, systematic, deliberate, designed to leave marks where clothing would hide them. Theron steps forward. His voice carries the weight of absolute certainty. And they carry your scent, Severin Ashford. Your rage, your cruelty. Every wolf in this room and smell it if they try. Murmurs ripple through the crowd, wolves inhaling deeply, testing the air, and one by one their expressions change. Horror, disgust, belief, because scent doesn't lie. Truth lives in the nose of a wolf. Elder Cornelius's expression hardens like stone setting. Is this true, Severin? Severin opens his mouth. No sound comes, because the lie is too big now, too obvious. The evidence written on his daughter's skin and hanging in the air for every wolf to smell. He tries anyway. She's always been difficult, emotional. I may have disciplined her, but never, I would never. You would. The voice comes from the crowd. Old, female. A pack healer steps forward. Gray-haired, weather-worn. I treated that child 3 times for falls that didn't match the injuries. Bruises and patterns that looked like hands. I reported it to you, Cornelius. You said you'd investigate. Elder Cornelius's face goes carefully blank. I remember no such report. Because Severin is Gamma. The healer's voice is bitter. And I am no one. Who would believe me over him? Other voices rise now, emboldened. I saw him grab her once. Thought it was strange. She always flinched when he came near. I asked her once if she was okay. She said she was fine, but her hands were shaking. The testimonies pile up like stones. Small observations, ignored moments. The thousand tiny cruelties that everyone saw but no one named. Until now, Severin's face has gone from pale to red. This is a conspiracy. She's turned you all against me with lease and manipulation. Then explain the scars. Darius's voice is ice. Explain why your scent is embedded in her pain. Silence. Severin has no answer. Can't answer. Because there is no lie big enough to cover this truth. Then Seraphine moves. Desperation overriding calculation. Jealousy overriding common sense. She pushes through the crowd, golden and furious, pointing at Lyric with a shaking hand. This is ridiculous. I'm the alpha female. I'm perfect. She's nothing. She can't even shift. Her voice rises shrill. I've trained my whole life for this. I'm beautiful. I'm powerful. I'm everything a Luna should be. And you're choosing her. The jealous rage in her voice confirms everything. The hall goes quiet, watching, waiting. Elder Cornelius looks at Seraphine with something like pity. Child, this isn't a competition you can win. Mate bonds aren't chosen. They simply are. She doesn't deserve them. Seraphine's composure shatters completely. She deserved every mark Father gave her. She killed Aunt Lyra. She's cursed, she's broken. The admission hangs in the air like poison. Seraphine realizes what she said. Her hand flies to her mouth. Too late. So you knew. Malachi's voice is soft, deadly. You watched him hurt her. You said nothing. Seraphine looks around wildly, finding no allies, no sympathy. She's not special. She's just moon-blessed. Lyric's words fall into sudden silence. Every wolf goes still. What? Elder Cornelius leans forward. Lyric closes her eyes, reaches for the thing that's been stirring in her chest since the mate bond formed. The wolf that's finally awake. The power that's been waiting her entire life for permission to exist. She stops fighting it, stops holding it down, stops making herself small. Silver light explodes from her skin. The hall blazes with it. Ancient, undeniable. Pure power that hasn't been seen in 300 years, erupting from a girl everyone called broken. It pours from her like starlight, like moonbeams made solid. Every scar on her back glows silver, transforming her from marks of shame into marks of survival, into proof that she endured. Wolves drop to their knees, not commanded, not forced, but compelled by something older than law, older than rank, older than everything except the moon herself. Even Elder Cornelius kneels. Even Severin, rigid with shock, finds his knees buckling. Only the three kings remain standing, because they're hers. Because the power recognizes them as much as it recognizes her. When the light finally fades, Lyric opens her eyes, silver, glowing, absolutely certain. I am not broken, she says, and her voice carries the weight of every moon-blessed ancestor who came before. I never was. Silence. Absolute. Reverent. Then Elder Cornelius speaks still on his knees, his voice shaking with awe. Moon-blessed, after all these years, the bloodline lives. He looks up at her with something that might be wonder, might be fear. Your mother, Lyra, she had silver eyes. Yes. We thought after the ash years, after the purges, we thought the bloodline extinct. You thought wrong. Malachi's voice is quiet but carries. And the law you're all thinking about, the one that forbids triad bonds, that law was written to eliminate moon-blessed wolves. Because moon-blessed always bond in triads. The law was genocide disguised as tradition. Understanding ripples through the crowd. Horrified understanding. Then the bond, Elder Cornelius, looks between Lyric and the three kings. The bond is not forbidden. It's necessary. It's inevitable, Darius corrects. The elder's gaze sweeps the hall, lands on Severin, still kneeling, all color drained from his face. Severin Ashford, the elder's voice is granite. You stand accused of systematic abuse of your daughter. A daughter who carries one of the rarest bloodlines in our history, a moon-blessed wolf. Do you deny these accusations? Severin's mouth opens, closes, opens again. It wasn't. Do you deny them? I thought she was cursed. The words come out broken. I thought she killed Lyra. You thought wrong. Elder Cornelius rises slowly. And your thoughts do not justify your actions. He turns to the council member standing behind him. The evidence is clear. The scent does not lie. The scars speak truth. And we have multiple witnesses to corroborate the pattern of abuse. The council members nod, one by one, solemn and certain. Severin Ashford, you are hereby stripped of your gamma rank. You and your mate will be exiled from these territories. You have until dawn to leave. If you return, you will be executed. Guards move forward. Two large warriors with silver chains that suppress shifting. Severin doesn't fight as they bind his wrists. Just stares at Lyric with something that might be disbelief. Like he can't comprehend that she actually spoke. That she actually stood up. That she actually won. Viviane steps forward from the crowd, her perfect composure finally completely shattered. Please, I never touched her. You allowed it. Malachi's voice is quiet. Damning. That's enough. The guards take her too, lead them both toward the doors. Severin looks back once, meets Lyric's eyes. She feels nothing. No satisfaction, no triumph, no vindication. Just the quiet, settling peace of a weight finally lifted. The doors close behind them, gone. Elder Cornelius turns to Seraphine, still standing in the center of the hall, golden and alone. And you, child, what will you do? Seraphine looks at Lyric, and for the first time there's no arrogance in her expression. No superiority, just fear, and something that might be shame. I'll go. Her voice is small. I can't stay here. Not after. She doesn't finish, just turns and walks toward the doors, head down, defeated, choosing exile over facing what she enabled. The doors close again. Elder Cornelius addresses the assembly. His voice carries to every corner of the hall. Let it be known across all territories. The triad bond between the Blackthorn Kings and Lyric Ashford Moon, blessed daughter of Lyra, is recognized by this council and sanctioned by ancient law. And who challenged this bond challenged the will of the moon goddess herself. He pauses, lets the weight of it settle. The law forbidding triad bonds is hereby declared void. It was written in fear and ignorance. It will not stand. Howls fill the hall. Not objection, acceptance, celebration. The sound builds like a wave, wolves throwing back their heads and calling to the moon rising outside. Calling their approval, their joy, their recognition of something sacred being restored. Lyric sways. The adrenaline draining away leaves her hollow. Her knees buckle. Darius's arm catches her before she falls. We've got you. Is it over? She whispers against his shoulder. It's over. Malachi confirms, his hand steady on her back. He's gone. You're safe and you're ours. The bond flares, bright and certain and absolutely complete. Theron's hand finds hers, squeezes gently. You did it, little wolf. You were so brave. I was terrified. Bravery isn't the absence of fear. Darius's voice is soft against her hair. It's acting despite it. And you were magnificent. The howls continue, the pack celebrating, accepting their new Luna, their moon-blessed queen. But Lyric barely hears them. She's too busy feeling the bonds settle into place. 3 threads of silver wrapping around her heart and holding tight. 3 wolves who chose her, who fought for her, who proved that broken was just a word and she was so much more. Elder Cornelius approaches, bows slightly. Luna Lyric, the pack would be honored if you'd accept a formal bonding blessing. Tonight under the full moon to seal what the goddess has already written. Lyric looks up at Darius, then Theron, then Malachi. What do you think? It's your choice, Malachi says, always giving her that, always. She looks back at the elder, at the pack beyond him, at wolves who are looking at her now not with pity or disgust or dismissal, but with respect. Yes, she says, tonight. The elder smiles. Then let us prepare. The bonding ceremony happens on the estate grounds under stars so bright they look like silver tears. The pack gathers in a circle, witnesses, celebrants, family in the truest sense. Lyric stands between her 3 mates, hands clasped with Darius and Theron, Malachi's hand warm on her shoulder. Elder Cornelius speaks the old words, the sacred ones, about bonds that transcend reason, about wolves finding their missing pieces, about the moon who guides all things. Do you, Darius Theron and Malachi Blackthorn, accept this bond? Accept this woman as your mate, your Luna, your equal in all things? We do. 3 voices, 1 answer. And do you, Lyric Ashford, accept this bond? Accept these men as your mates, your kings, your partners in all things? Lyric's voice doesn't shake. I do. Then by the power vested in me by the moon goddess, in this pack I declare this bond recognized, celebrated, and eternal. He steps back. The moon, full and bright above them, seems to glow brighter. Silver light cascades down like a waterfall wrapping around all 4 of them. The bond made visible, made sacred, made permanent. When it fades, Lyric feels different, complete, like pieces of herself she didn't know were missing have finally clicked into place. Darius pulls her close, kisses her forehead. Ours. Mine, she whispers back. because it goes both ways, because she chose them too. The pack erupts in celebration, howls and cheers in joy. Lyric lets herself be swept up in it, lets herself smile, lets herself believe that this is real, this is happening, this is her life now. Not the broken girl hiding behind a shed, but the moon-blessed Luna standing in moonlight with three kings who love her. The celebration continues late into the night. Food, music, stories. But eventually Darius leans down and whispers in her ear, ready to go home, home. The Blackthorn estate, her room, her space, her future. Yes, they slip away from the celebration, the four of them walking through forest that feels different now. Safer, lighter, like even the trees know something has changed. At the estate, they lead her to a different room, larger, a massive bed that could fit four easily. Windows overlooking the territories. A fireplace already burning warm. This is Lyric starts, ours, Malachi finishes, all of ours, if you want it. I want it. And she does, wants all of it. Them, this, the future spreading before her like unwritten pages. Theron closes the door. The soft click feels final. Private. We should, Darius starts. You've had a long day, you need rest. I need you. Lyric's voice is steady. Sure. All of you. Please. The air changes, becomes charged. Darius steps closer. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Then we're yours, he says, however you want us. And finally, without interruption, without fear, without anything but want and trust and love, they show her what it means to be claimed, to be wanted, to be theirs. The moon watches through windows as silver light fills the room, as four wolves become one, as a bond written in starlight becomes complete. And when Lyric falls asleep hours later, wrapped in warmth and safety and love, she dreams of tomorrow, of a future where she's not broken, where she's not cursed, where she's simply finally beautifully herself 8 months later. Lyric stands on the estate balcony, her hand resting on her swollen belly, where twin heartbeats flutter like promises beneath her palm. Autumn has painted the forest in shades of gold and crimson. The air smells like wood smoke and approaching winter. Below, the pack moves through evening routines comfortable and safe. Her silver wolf finally emerged 3 months ago. It happened during a full moon. She'd stopped fighting it, stopped holding it down, and finally let it out. Massive, glowing like starlight given form. Silver fur that caught moonlight and threw it back brighter. When she'd shifted back, Darius had been there, tears in his eyes. Beautiful, he'd whispered. You're so beautiful. Now she runs with them regularly. 4 wolves moving through forests like they were born to it. Her wolf is different from theirs, faster, more agile, carrying that ancient moon-blessed power, but equal. Always equal. The 3 Omegas they'd rescued that first week have all found homes, found mates, found safety. They visit sometimes bringing food and stories and gratitude that still makes Lyric uncomfortable because she just did what anyone would do. Except it wasn't what anyone would do. It was what she did. And that makes all the difference. There you are. Darius steps onto the balcony, wrapping his arms around her from behind, careful of her belly. Hiding thinking. About and everything. She leans back against him. How different it all is now. Malachi joins them carrying warm cider that smells like cinnamon and apples. The council wants to meet next week, discuss expanding the moon-blessed protections to other territories. Good. Lyric takes the offered cup, sips carefully. No one should have to hide what they are. Theron appears in the doorway grinning. The nursery's finished. Want to see them? They'd been working on it for weeks. A room painted in soft silvers and blues. 2 cribs carved with wolves and crescent moons. Blankets softer than clouds. A room for the twins growing inside her. 1 boy, 1 girl, both carrying the moon-blessed bloodline. Both already loved beyond measure. In a minute. Lyric looks out over the territories. I want to stay here just a bit longer. Darius's hand covers hers on her belly. What are you thinking about? That girl. Lyric's voice is soft. The one hiding behind a shed, crying in the dark, thinking she was broken. She was brave, Malachi says quietly. She was surviving, Theron adds. She was waiting. Lyric turns to look at each of them, waiting for someone to tell her she mattered, that she was worth fighting for, that she wasn't cursed. And now, Darius asks, now she knows. Lyric smiles. Silver light glows faintly around her the way it always does when she's happy, when she's home. She knows she was blessed all along. She just couldn't see it yet. The twins kick, both of them, like they're agreeing, like they already understand. Come on, Theron offers his hand. Let's look at the nursery, then dinner. The pack wants to celebrate your birthday. Her birthday. 24 years old today. 24 years of survival and strength and finally joy. They walk inside together. Four wolves who found each other against impossible odds, who broke every rule and rewrote every law, who proved that sometimes the things you're told are weaknesses are actually your greatest strengths. In the nursery, Lyric runs her fingers over the carved cribs, imagines tiny hands gripping the rails, imagines teaching her children to shift to run, to be proud of who they are, imagines telling them about their grandmother Lyra, who was moon-blessed too, who would have loved them, who would have been proud. Do you ever regret it, she asked quietly, everything that happened, everything you risked? Never. Darius's voice is absolute. I mean, not once, Malachi confirms. Are you kidding? Theron laughs. Best thing that ever happened to us. Lyric turns to face them, her mates, her kings, her home. I was called cursed, she says softly. Broken, defective, worthless. And we called you ours, Darius reminds her. And that, Lyric says, silver-lighted, glowing brighter as she smiles, as she feels the bond pulse warm and true and eternal, changed everything. The sunset paints the sky in shades of fire and gold. The moon rises full and bright, watching over territories where a moon-blessed Luna rules beside three kings who love her. Where wolves who were broken have found healing. Where the cycle of pain has finally blessedly ended. And in a nursery painted silver and blue, two cribs wait for the next generation. For twins who will grow up knowing they're loved, who will shift under full moons and run wild through forests, who will carry the moon-blessed bloodline forward, who will never ever be told they're anything less than extraordinary. The scars remain on Lyric's back, visible when she shifts, undeniable when she's human. But they no longer define her. They're simply part of her story. The story of a girl who survived, who found her strength, who discovered that broken was just a word and she was so much more. Luna, mate, mother, moon-blessed, Lyric, simply finally beautifully herself, and that makes all the difference.